So at this point, when you're going to go onto the 600 grid, you want to rinse the particles off thoroughly, off your bead. You're going to want to actually either rinse out this container and put fresh water in, or just go to another container. Because if I start rubbing with 600 and I have particles that rubbed off of the 400 sandpaper in my water, I could pick up a 400 and again undo all the work that I'm doing with my 600 grit. Or worse yet, if I go up and I'm really on a fine grade, like 1,000 or 1,200, and then suddenly a piece of sand from 400 grit comes in there, it's going to put a big gouge in there. So definitely you want to rinse your paper, rinse out your bowl, or just totally go to another fresh bowl of water to make sure you aren't contaminating. Again, I'm just kind of doing a circular motion. Just a couple of minutes with each grit. I'm not going to bore you and go through every one, but if I were to do all this, I would go ahead and I went 400, 600, now I'm doing 800. Remember, I'm wetting both the bead and the paper. I'm doing the sides. If you miss a spot, it's kind of a pain because you have to go back to the lower grid and do it all over. All right. I'll go up to 1,200 now. There is 1,000. I kind of skipped over that. You don't have to do every one. Depends. If you want it to look like glass, you might want to go up through every single grade of paper. If you just want it to have a nice little shine, you can kind of skip a couple. But you could go 4, 6, 8, 1,000, 12, 15, 2,000. But let's stop there. Let's stop. I labeled that one. Let's stop at 1,200. Let's dry this off and see what we've done. Obviously, we've removed some grit, because you can see that on the paper. Ooh, what happened? We made it dull. And that's exactly what you'd expect. After you've taken all that surface off, it's actually going to look pretty dull. So what we need to do is buff it. If you don't want to do anything mechanical, the best things are a piece of flannel, like this shoe mitt I have from some hotel, and jeans. You want to rub it on your jeans? You can do that. You can rub it on the flannel, and look at that. It's starting to get a little bit of the shine back. Because I didn't go through every single grade, I'm not going to have a glassy surface today, but we can show you some examples that have been really buffed. And if you really go through all the different grades and you really sand and buff really thoroughly, you will totally fool someone that you have a piece of glass instead of a piece of polymer clay. You can see it's getting its shine back. It's a nice, with just using the jeans and the flannel, you get it's really smooth and you get a nice sheen to it. Not a real brilliant shine, but a nice sheen. The other thing you can do is use an actual buffer. This is a handheld one. You just turn it on and just after you've sanded it, just hold. Whoops, that's a common problem. Your beads go flying, so don't be within range of anybody. You can do that. And you can actually get a buffing wheel, like a grinding wheel, and get an attachment for it that has a cloth wheel, and you just actually hold your bead. Again, it's kind of good to anchor it because especially a large buffing wheel can really pull it right out of your hands. So if you can anchor it and hold your bead up against the wheel, if that was a big wheel like that, so the bead doesn't go flying, they can really become a major projectile. So I think that's about it. You just have to decide for yourself what you want the surface of your piece to look like, and then how much effort you want to put into it. Glazing or sanding, buffing, all the way up to a glassy finish. And that is what we need to know about sanding and buffing.